A theoretical discussion of the possibility and possible mechanisms of using sesame oil for prevention of 2019 Gov. Wuhan coronavirus, from the perspective of colloid and interface science when FAN 1, Jingzeng 2, Yunfan Su 11 School of Materials Science and Engineering, Ministry of Education Key Laboratory for the Green Preparation and Application of Functional Materials, Hebei University Wuhan, Hebei, 430,062, China 2 Department of Materials Science, Fudan University, Shanghai 200,433, China. We investigate the antiviral effects of edible oils that have a low surface tension, a high boiling point and contain a high proportion of unsaturated fatty acid, such as olive oil, linseed oil, tea seed oil, sunflower oil, soybean oil, olive oil, canola oil, peanut oil. In summary, the above discussion provides some possible mechanisms and thinking of using sesame oil or vegetable oils with siilar characteristics of having a high proportion of unsaturated fatty acids like oleic acic, linoleic acid, linolenic acic, to prevent the infection of the 2019 Gov from the point of view of colloid and interface science. Research found that of the higher fatty acids, the unsaturated ones, such as oleic and linoleic acids, are virucidal.Antiviral fatty acids were found to affect the viral envelope, causing leakage, and at higher concentrations, a complete disintegration of the envelope and the viral particles. Due to the spread of 2019 Gov. Wuhan coronavirus, 9 million people are being isolated in the city of Wuhan in China. The coronavirus is airborne and highly infectious at short contact distances. The use of high-efficiency respirators or masks, e.g., N95 respirators, can protect people against the coronavirus, but the protective effect may be insufficient when the filtration efficiency of masks is not high enough or the wearing of masks is inappropriate. A folk method states that adding of sesame oil in nostrils can prevent the spread of plague, but the validity and mechanism of this method still remains uncertain. Based on our previous studies in colloid and interface science, we think there are some theoretical reasons to support the sesame oil method for preventing viral infection by considering the physical-chemical properties of sesame oil, such as low surface tension, high boiling point, high viscosity, immiscible with water and antivirus activity. This manuscript mainly discusses the possible physical-chemical mechanisms involved in the sesame oil method, and also proposes some potential methods for preventing the virus infection if the mechanisms of the sesame oil method can be confirmed by further experimental and clinical results, and may finally contribute to prevent the spread of coronavirus as soon as possible. A possible approach may help to prevent 2019 Gov. Currently, the use of personal protective equipments, such as N95 respirators, surgical masks, gloves and goggles can offer a level of protection against the transmission of the coronavirus. N95 respirators or surgical masks are especially necessary to prevent droplet spread and airborne transmission of infectious agents because of their high filtration efficiency. A study on SARS-CoV indicates that N95 respirators may offer more protection than surgical masks, while some other studies indicate that there is no significant difference in protection between them. The main risk factors for 2019 Gov infection may be the inappropriate use of respirators or masks, or the use of masks with lower filtration efficiency when people are in direct contact or close proximity to infected patients. The development of the protective drugs or vaccines for 2019 Gov is in the process. A potential problem is that if the production of drugs can meet the needs of a large number of people in a short period. First, sesame oil is an edible vegetable oil derived from sesame seeds. Pure sesame oil has a relatively low surface tension, about 28 mN/m at 28 degrees Celsius, and is incompatible with water. Thus, because the relatively low intermolecular attraction between adjacent sesame oil molecules, pure sesame oil has a good wettability and can readily wet the surface of various solid and aqueous phases. For example, shows that when pure sesame oil was dropped onto the surface of water, the sesame oil was readily and rapidly spread out on the water surface. Our previous study published in Science Advances indicates that a low surface tension oil such as hexane, 18.4 mN/m at 25 degrees Celsius, or silicone oil, about 16 to 21 mn/m at 25 degrees Celsius, can sufficiently wet the surface nanostructure of various solids. Thus, when sesame oil is added and coated to a person's two nostrils, the sesame oil may wet the nasal mucosa and act as a large area of protective layer. In addition, sesame oil has a high boiling point of about 215 degrees Celsius, thus the protective layer may remain for a long time. Second, the protective layer of sesame oil onto the nasal mucosa may has a suitable surface tension, viscosity, adhesion, and thickness to catch and trap the virus particles when a person is breathing with his nose, and thus preventing the direct contact and binding of virus onto the surface of nasal mucosa. The catching and trapping of virus particles by the sesame oil protective layer onto the nasal mucosa. B. The sesame oil layer may block the physical contact between the virus nanoparticles and the nasal mucosa surface. We show the schematic diagram of possible interface behavior of virus-containing aerosols or virus-containing aqueous droplets at the air/sesame oil interface. Generally, the adsorption behavior of dried particles at an air/oil interface can be determined by the combined contributions of various effects, including the hydrophilic and hydrophobic properties of particles, particle surface morphology, particle size, air/oil surface tension, three-phase contact angle, oil viscosity and oil density, etc. Overall, a lower air/oil surface tension will facilitate the adsorption and entrance of dried particles at the air/oil interface. For submicron-sized or micron-sized aqueous droplets containing virus nanoparticles, the droplets could be absorbed at the air/oil interface. Because water has slight solubility in sesame oil, the virus nanoparticles could enter into the oil phase after the solution of water in sesame oil. Thus the possible adsorption process of virus-containing aerosols or virus-containing aqueous droplets at the air/sesame oil interface. A recent study suggests that compared to the SARS-CoV, the S protein on the 2019 CoV has additional hydrophilicity in the protein structure, thus may provide an enhanced affinity towards host cell receptors and might have also increased the range of host cells that 2019 CoV can infect, thereby may increase the infectivity of 2019 CoV. Thus, the coating of sesame oil onto mucosal surface may increase the surface hydrophobicity of mucosal surface, and thereby decreasing the binding ability of 2019 CoV-S protein to mucosal cells. The envisaged protective layer of sesame oil coated onto the surface of nasal cavity, oral cavity, and throat. To achieve better protection effect, a person could also slowly drink some sesame oil and keep some sesame oil in the mouth, and thus let the sesame oil cover the mucosal surface of oral cavity and throat. This may further increase the protected area and thus reduce the chance of infection by virus during talking or mouth breathing, and may be especially useful in high-risk areas, such as hospital environments or family environments with patient. Third, generally, dried SARS-CoV can retain its infectivity for as long as 6 days 65, but SARS-CoV and 2019 CoV are also sensitive to various disinfectants including diethyl ether, 75%, V/V, ethanol solution, chlorinated disinfectants, fatty solvents such as peracetic acid and chloroform. At present, there is little experimental or theoretical investigation on the inactivation ability of sesame oil to coronavirus, but we think that there is a potentiality. Because the sesame oil has a low surface tension similar to that of 75% ethanol solution, about 25 mn/m at 20 degrees Celsius, 68, which may help to disrupt the surface structures and functions of the virus. Moreover, sesame oil is composed of various saturated or unsaturated fatty acids, including linoleic acid, 41% of total fatty acids, oleic acid, 39%, palmitic acid, 8%, and stearic acid, 5%. Some fatty acids, especially the unsaturated fatty acids, have been proven to be active against some enveloped viruses. For example, it has been demonstrated that incubation of vesicular stomatitis virus with linoleic acid, a type of unsaturated fatty acid, can lead to leakage of viral envelopes. This effect was far more pronounced with a higher linoleic acid concentration, causing disintegration of viral particles. It was suggested that the antiviral mechanism is due to the fatty acids can be incorporated into the lipid membrane of viral envelopes, causing destabilization of the bilayer of viral envelopes. Interestingly, a recent study revealed that exogenous supplement of linoleic acid or arachidonic acid in human coronavirus 229E infected cells was capable of significantly suppressing the coronavirus replication. This inhibitory effect was also observed in the highly virulent Middle East respiratory syndrome coronavirus. Thus, if the structures and functions of the 2019 GOV-S protein or the viral envelope could be disrupted by sesame oil, the 2019 GOV would be considered harmless to human body, even if the viral RNA cannot be damaged. Fourth, very importantly, sesame oil is a non-toxic and harmless cooking oil, and can be easily found, and people can buy it everywhere. Every people can quickly and easily protect themselves in various indoor and outdoor environments, and the combined use of a mask and the protective layer of sesame oil may well prevent the further development of the epidemic. There are also some helpful suggestions. 1. For the asymptomatic infected people, we can examine if it is possible to inactivate the 2019 GOV in their bodies, or upper respiratory tracts, by adding sesame oil to their nostrils and mouth, since sesame oil is capable of permeating and entering the bloodstream through the capillaries. 2. We can apply sesame oil to the surface of frequently contacted objects, such as tables, door handles, our hands and faces. Because sesame oil has a low surface tension and a high boiling point, sesame oil can wet the surface of various objects and can also maintain for a longer time. While 75% ethanol solution is easily volatilized and lose its disinfection capacity due to the low boiling point of ethanol, 78 degrees Celsius. 3. We can spray sesame oil into the air, for example, spraying sesame oil around infected patients and to inactivate the virus aerosols around patients. The inhalation of sesame oil molecules to patients' nostrils and lungs could be non-toxic and perhaps even beneficial. While an excessive use of some other disinfectants, such as fluorinated disinfectants, are potentially harmful to human health and the environment. 4. Preventing the transmission of infectious diseases spread by airborne virus poses a significant challenge. We can use a napkin containing sesame oil to cover the nose and mouth before the wearing of a mask. In this combination, the mask can be used to block the larger virus-containing droplets, while the napkin can be used to adsorb, trap and inactivate the virus in aerosols that is capable of passing through the mask. This may be useful when a high protection level N95 respirators or surgical masks are not available. 6. We can also investigate the antiviral effects of other edible oils that have a low surface tension, a high boiling point and contain a high proportion of unsaturated fatty acid, such as olive oil, linseed oil, and tea seed oil. In summary, the above discussion provides some possible mechanisms and thinking of using sesame oil to prevent the infection of the 2019 GOV from the point of view of colloid and interface science.